poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If you are a return subscriber, what's poppin'? I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you for continuing to follow my YouTube channel. If you are new to my channel, what's up? What's poppin'? Make sure you go check out my latest videos to catch up with everybody else. I am showing y'all how to sew on a lace closure onto a wig. I'm not showing the entire wig. This is literally just how to sew on your lace closure piece. I'm making a 4x4 middle part lace closure wig. So let's get straight into it. First, you're going to line your closure up in the middle of your cap. Since this is a middle part wig, you want to make sure that your closure is 1/2 inch to 1 inch in front of the cap, just to ensure that your wig is lined up correctly at the end. You're going to place your first pin in the front of the closure. Then you're going to make sure your closure is completely flat, and you're going to pin the back down. You want to make sure there's no humps or lumps in the closure so that your closure can be as flat as possible. After you pin the back, you're going to pin both sides of the closure. Don't forget to make sure that your closure is nice and flat in all areas before you pin it down, because if it's not flat, at the end you're going to have a bulky closure. The more you pin, you will start to realize that your closure probably started to bulk up or to get loose. That's totally fine and it's normal. Just go ahead and replace those pins. Just pick up some pins, flatten out the closure as much as you can, and repin it. Now you're just going to go ahead and pin the hair up out of your way. I'm going to use the clip. You also can use a ponytail holder. It does not matter. Now I'm just repinning a few of my pins just to make sure that my closure is as flat as possible. You should have your closure on, and you should have your pins in your closure just to keep that out of your way. Your closure should also be at least 1/2 to 1 inch right in front of your cap. Like my closure hairline is sitting right here, but my cap is back here. If this was a sew-in on an actual client, I would start dead smack in the middle just to make sure that everything stays even. Since this is a wig, you do not have to start in the middle. It does not matter where you start from because your pins already have your closure in place, so it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm starting in the back of my closure, right in the middle, and I'm going to start sewing that down. If you guys want a video on how to string your string, let me know. I can do that for you. Again, I'm right in the middle. You're just going to go ahead and start sewing that down. You want to make sure that you're doing your stitching nice and neat so your closure can be as flat as possible. You also want to make sure you're keeping the same space in between all of your stitches. So I'm starting right in the back. I'm going to stitch all the way down to the right, and then I'm going to make my way up. Starting from the middle, and I'm going to work my way around here, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other half. You guys want to make sure when you're stitching, let me bring it closer. When you're stitching and you're putting your needle through here, you do not want to put your needle all the way down here. Do you see how far that is? Like, if you pull your string through, this closure is going to be pulling way down here. You want to make sure that you're staying, when you're stitching, you don't want to poke out your needle no closer than here, because you don't want your string to be pulling too tight, because you know you might rip the cap or anything. Also, be careful when you are sewing on this band. You only want to sew through the top layer of the cap, and you do not want to sew through that elastic band. What is an elastic band? Give me 1 second, I'll show you. This is an elastic band. You know, like when you wear leggings or yoga pants or anything stretchy that has like that elasticity around the waist, this is an elastic band. This helps basically tighten down your wig. It helps it secure itself more. And stitch through that, it's no longer going to be stretched. It's going to be like super tight and stiff. And when I say sew only through that top layer, I mean literally just sew through the black net, but try not to sew through that band. For example, this is what I mean. I'm sewing through my closure, and then I'm taking a tiny piece of that black band. I mean of the black cap itself, but not the band. And then I'm stitching. You want to come all the way to the tip, okay? You want to come to the very end of that closure. When you get to the very end, you want to sew about 2 to 3 stitches just to make sure it's super secure and that it will not come down. Normally, when you finish off your stitching, so like I said, you want to stitch this about 2 to 3 times. And then normally when you would do your stitching, you would cut it and then you would tie this knot into a string. But me, I literally just cut it because I tied so many knots, you know, it's secure. And if you're a beginner and you watching this video, go ahead and tie that into a knot. My string is from here to here, and from here to there, and it's nice and flat and it's not bulky. Now that we're all finished with one side, we're just going to go ahead and do the same exact thing on the left side. I'm still starting in the back, and I'm still going to make my way down to the left. I'm going to sew this entire back section before I start with my next section. You want to make sure that you're not digging your pin down too far so that it does not cause any extra pulling or any holes or anything. And you just want to make sure you're being neat and yeah. Once you start to get close to the elastic band, do not forget that you're not supposed to sew through this. Just make sure you only pick up the black material. Alright, once you reach your last stitch, you have two options. You can either stitch it only about 2 to 3 times and you can tie it into a knot to then cut it, or you can stitch it about 3 to 4 times and just cut the string without tying it in a knot. Since you tied it so many times, you don't have to tie it into a knot. Once you're finished, just go ahead and clip all your hair out the way just so you can see what you're working with. Your closure should look very similar to mine, if not exactly the same, and it should be as flat as possible.